Congratulations on the other one.
Check your phone. Shine, man. What? 15 years on tap. I'll listen. Stop for Coldwood. Don't go any further. The second one's on us.
That's why we're
Helper. Second crew.
Yeah, that's true. We are seeing the sun.
never know what they do. That's exactly.
I can't remember my own. I can't remember my own.
Could everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The invocation will now be said by Mayor Pro Tem Ambrose.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather here today. Help us to make decisions that are fair and just and in the best interest of all Walled Lake, both its residents and businesses. We ask this in your almighty and powerful name. Amen.
Amen. Will the clerk please call roll?
Yes. Mayor Ackley?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ambrose?
Here.
Councilmember Helke?
Here.
Councilmember Locke?
Here.
Councilmember Lewis?
Here.
Councilmember Osnick?
Here.
Councilmember Robinson?
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Request for agenda changes. I would like to take item number 1 and 2 under new business and table those two items to give it a chance to be on the next DDA agenda so that the DDA can discuss and then come back at our next council meeting.
I'll support that.
You what?
Support that.
Okay.
Support that.
Motion and support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So those two will be tabled.
We'll put it up for discussion on the next meeting and we're going to vote those proposals.
Any other agenda changes that anybody would like to make? Okay, moving on. Approval of the minutes of the February 21st, 2017 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I'll support it.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there, yes?
I have something to say about the minute.
Okay.
I'd like to again object to the use of the word diatribe in the minutes. It is unnecessarily negative and disrespectful. It doesn't matter whether or not the person taking the minutes or anyone else feels that the comments made by a tax-paying resident and voter of the city of Walled Lake fit the definition of the word. It is sufficient to use comments or statement. In Robert's Rules for Dummies, second edition, it says, minutes are important because they're the only surviving record of what was said and done at the meeting. They can be dry and boring. In fact, it's probably a good sign if they are. Nowhere on the web could I find anything about inserting one's own colorful and/or descriptive language, some of which seems to require definitions and reminders about who was or was not in attendance at the meeting. It seems to me that allowing this type of descriptive language in official city council minutes could open the door to creative writing in describing the comments of any resident. I would like to move that the word diatribe be stricken from the minutes and replaced with said or stated.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, is there support?
Mayor, the motion you have is to approve the minutes. She
Right.
just made a second motion. It's not appropriate, but if she's saying she motioned to amend,
To amend,
that's
correct.
then she needs a second.
Are you moving to amend then?
Yes.
Is there a second to the motion to amend? There being none, the motion fails for support. All those in favor of the main motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Ambrose,
Yes.
Councilmember Helke,
No.
Councilmember Locke,
Yes.
Councilmember Lublin,
Yes.
Councilmember Osmann,
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson,
Yes.
Mayor Ackley.
Yes. Okay, approved 6-1. Okay, next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience? Please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Kenneth Polkey, 179 Spring Park, good afternoon. Just this past week, I sent up a request with the city requesting the reason why my request for a meeting with the mayor and Mr. Witt was declined. I kind of like to have that in writing, and also, when I filled this out, I was looking to have this thing notarized to sit there and submit to you as an official document stating specifically that I do not hold a retainer for an attorney against the city of Walled Lake, so there should be no reason why we can't have this meeting. Now, Mr. Witt, I want to give you a couple of license numbers. Registered with the state of Michigan underneath it, LARA. License number 2102-196-534. And also license number 2102-179-170. I would appreciate it if you look into these 2 numbers specifically, because it could help us out along that. I also like to address obstruction to vision on corner lots, which happens to be 2108. It seems to be obsolete due to the fact that driving conditions and lanes have changed. We have more lanes to navigate, pedestrians have the right of way, and speed limits have changed, allowing to where the obstructions, the visual line to safely navigate the streets to merge into a different lanes or across. You need to take into account a farther distance to safely judge it, because pedestrians do have the right of way. The 25-foot setback has to come back to where it's clear for the pedestrians to safely navigate across the street and allow that motor vehicle that's there on the corner and have a far sight line to sit there and properly navigate their vehicle to merge on that lane safely. And I also sit there and like to read this one out, which is underneath the zoning ordinance and whatnot. It's section 1403, paragraph G, storage facilities for buildings, materials, sand, gravel, stone, lumber, open storage for construction equipment and supplies. That would pertain to limited industrial. And I think you understand where I would like this meeting to go. So, thank you for your time. And I'd like to see this resolved behind doors.
Anyone else? Yes.
Do you want me to go, or do you want to get?
You raised your hand, come on.
Road
Go ahead and stand up.
Okay.
Dennis Burks, 206 Spring Park, Walled Lake, Michigan. This is Mayor Ackley and others of the city government are fully aware of these things. Apparently, in 2013, the city was $10 million in debt, okay? Mr. Witt, our city manager, came in 2010. We are still over $9 million in debt, but yet everybody thinks he's doing such a great job. Anything? Nothing, okay? The railroad, Rails to Trails program, the city was, the citizens, which would be mostly us here, we weren't aware of the M5 bridge. We were under the impression that the city of Walled Lake would be responsible for 1/3 of the cost of that. We find out the DOT was donating that. There was a lot of things that we weren't aware of, but after the meeting, and I talked to the Commerce and Novi and Wixom people, they're like, yes, they withheld the evidence, or not evidence, but information from you. Okay, thank you for that. The Maher thing. To the minutes keeper, you record what's said, not your own description, not in your own words. Who proofreads these minutes? Anyone?
Who, what?
Who proofreads the minutes that are published to the,
Motion was made to them?
who proofreads the minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said approve.
Proofreads.
It's done by city staff.
Nobody here
I
proofreads the
said
minutes?
city staff.
Oh, nobody in particular? Oh, thank you. All right, here we go. Oh, here's something interesting from the spinal column. It seems that the city was caught lying. This is back from when the Walled Lake Police and the budget cuts and everything else. Ms. Colleen M. Coogan, who is in this up over her head also, in all of this, the Walled Lake Finance Director, on or about May 2nd, about this police program. Mr. Witt was informed that negotiations were supposed to be with the POAMs, and apparently he ignored the request and the law, which seems to be an ongoing problem here at this city. And Ms. Coogan was right along with it. They lied to the press, they lied to other people, according to this newspaper, right here. All right. Now, Mr. Witt, I noticed that here, when you were doing your, when she made like a second motion or something like that, you got that right off. But yet, you sat right there when Mr. Casey denied the public's right to speak at an assembly. That is a federal offense. What have you got to say? Anything? That's also a blatant break of the state law. Anything? Now, a private attack is, you need to look up what a private attack is. This is all related to the city, how the city is run. Oh, and the mayor's race is ending in April, so register early.
Okay, is there anyone else? Yes.
I'm Karen Colby, 179 Spring Park, and I really want to thank the City Council for arranging to have a public hearing regarding the trailways, because I was ready to go along with, no, I don't want more taxes than is necessary, but there was a tremendous amount of information that came out of the hearing, and it looks like there's a lot of help and funds out there, and volunteers. I know volunteers are really not dependable from my past experience, but it looks like things can be more organized and you can get groups of volunteers that are going to work on this. I guess my question is, how come all this information came out now and we didn't have anything like that before? It was almost like doom and gloom if we didn't get out of this Trailway Council. Thank you, that's my opinion.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, Gabriel Costanzo, 815 Bluffton Street. I have to agree with a lot of my residents here, and I'm sorry about this, but this needs said. As a longtime resident of Walled Lake, I must say that last week's special meeting on withdrawing from the Trailway project was both very embarrassing and disturbing for the city. Over the past year, starting with Resolution 2016-03, The city had 3 key people directly involved with this project: Councilmember Wisnick, our city manager, and our city finance director. It was obvious at last week's meeting that the city has not done its research estimating ongoing expenses to the city to maintain the trailway and the options available to help offset the expenses. Some of the options not explored in depth include the grants, fundraising, sponsorships, and the incoming advertising revenue from the pylon located on the trail in Commerce Township. During the past year, our council and representatives have failed to ask the right questions involving this project, showing a lack of vision and foresight on it. In fact, the purchase had been completed last September, but was delayed until February of this year. We essentially were granted over a 5-month extension on this project, but sadly we did not explore this project more in depth. This was a wasted opportunity and time. It was only after the trail was purchased, after the purchase was completed, that the city considered pulling out of the project and discussing tax increases over a month ago. It looks like the city had no intention of following through on the project. I am requesting the following from our city council. Stay in the trailway project. It is good for the city. It is good for our residents, it's good for the community. 2, council, not raise taxes, but to do the hard work to obtain the funding through some of the options I mentioned earlier and many of the others available. Many were talked about last week that were surprised to many of us as residents in the city. 3, as the trailway project moves forward, that our city start vast improvements to our city website. This will help to promote the community and also aid in the obtaining of sponsors and donations to the trailway project. Over the past few years, dozens of residents have complained about our city website. 4, I also suggest that the council make a specific list of questions for our trailway representatives to obtain monthly progress updates from the trailway manager. The answers should be reviewed at the monthly council meetings by the city council to gauge the progress on the project itself and stay informed. Last week, a lot of stuff has popped out at the very last minute, and that is very, as a citizen, not very trustworthy of what was going on behind the scenes on this project. 5, all council and DDA meetings be video recorded and posted on our city website, or even possibly create a Walled Lake YouTube channel. As pointed out at last week's meeting by several residents, there's a serious lack of communication and transparency within our city. This would help to address both. Our residents are not feeling comfortable with our city. If you go out there and talk to the residents, you will find that because of this lack of transparency, just relying on the minutes, there's not a lack of trust. There's a lack of trust with this council. And I apologize that I didn't come down to this, but after last week's meeting, what I saw and what I heard and what was sprung upon us, to Ms. Kolke's point, that why do we all hear about this stuff at the last minute, is very concerning. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Next is the oath of office.
Officer Breckley, listen for. Officer Breckley lives in Rochester and graduated from Troy High School. He earned an associate's degree in criminal justice from Wilson Community College and is currently working on his bachelor's degree from Oakland University. It's a good call, by the way. Brett started his career in Grosse Pointe Woods before coming to Walled Lake, and tonight his girlfriend Katie's in the house. We give him the oath of office.
I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of police officer according to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Okay, next is the public safety campus meeting.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you don't mind, I'm going to turn the light off here. So I must confess that we have a city intern who's done an enormous amount of legwork on this, and I'm just sorry she couldn't be here this evening to share her work with you. Her name is Jessica Worley, and she has done quite an impressive job for us. So as you know, as part of this reinventing of Walled Lake and stepping up the image, we've started addressing the exterior of the campus, the public safety campus. And what we need now is our lights. So the lights have to be put in before the trees and the plants are put in. So these are some of the options, and we've been discussing LED. So decorative lighting lights are the accents to the city campus, and they're shifting the cityscape from that. We are shifting it from outside in. So we're working first on what your public sees before we start addressing some of the problems inside the building. How the building looks, how the city looks enhances the pride and respect for our community. There we go. LED is a light emitting diode. Our focus is on type 3 and type 5. Type 3 takes the light and shifts it out with a small amount going in toward the building. Light 5 is a full circular light emitting diode. So what we're looking at here is putting 14 of the taller lights and some bollards. So bollards, and you have the pictures with you, bollards are the shorter walkway ones. They are just to help for safety as people are walking around. The red are the type 5, so that's the full circle. The blue are type 3, so you can see they're the ones where the back of them is to the building. So we want to push most of the energy and the electrical cost out to the front. So we have, if you count these down, there's 14 pole lights, and then we would have 10 to 15 bollards. So some of the bollards would be going up to the library. The other bollards would be right here where the people come into the police station. These are our two heavily trafficked sidewalk areas in the evening hours, right? So that's why we're adding some extra lighting there. These are pictures of LED all around us. So she was able to find us pictures of Ann Arbor, Rochester Hills, and the city of Detroit using LED lights. So after completing, so the choice of the light poles comes first. And then once you've chosen the light poles, we will purchase the accessory materials to match the light poles. So we'll have some benches, we'll have some trash containers, and we'll have some pots for plants. But none of those will, it isn't even worth looking at those until you first choose your lights. This is the more expensive piece, and the look of those will drive everything else. These are the 5 choices that are presented to you, the 5 alternatives. We worked with the landscape architect. We tried to give you a broad selection. We had several criteria. One was that we wanted them regionally sourced, manufacturing as much as possible. We wanted LED. We wanted something that would have a striking appearance out here in the campus, right? And I think she did a very nice job finding designs and styles that really give you a range from traditional up to the more modern. We are recommending, along with the landscape architect, that the color choice is black or a very dark brown, because from a maintenance perspective, these are pretty long-lasting colors, right? They're timeless colors, and they will kind of provide the accent we're looking for against your red brick building. We also do have as an option, it's a difficult option for us, but we do have the DDA lights that are out there. The DDA lights don't quite have the color that we're thinking would work well on the campus, and we're having a little bit of difficulty because of the color, although at the time that they ordered them, my understanding is this color was standard. It no longer is. It's now a custom order color. So that's kind of why we're leaning toward black. and our replacement heads right now are very difficult to get. We are talking to the DDA about this as well, because if we decide, we have to decide if we're going to, whatever we choose on the campus here, if we then take that look through as we have to replace some of these DDA poles, will we drive the look through the rest of the city, or will we just replace the DDA poles as they are and convert them to LED? So this again is the custom colorization. You can see how it's kind of blending in right here. So we're really, now this one looks really nice right here. We're really looking for a little bit darker color on the city campus. Anyway, that's our recommendation, but of course the city council can do what they want. So this is Jessica's, lighting chosen now will remain with the city for decades to come. In point of fact, it's about 1,000 hours of lighting time on each of these light emitting diodes, right? And we're expecting the poles will have probably a 15 to 20 year life, which is exactly what we're seeing with the DDA, right? Those are about 10 years old now. They're starting to show a little bit of wear and tear. We're going to do some maintenance on them, but they probably only have another 5 years left. And we're also starting to find that we're having a hard time finding the toppers. So whatever we're doing here, this is really, about a 15-year solution, 20 if we're lucky. And we're actually hoping if we choose the black or the dark brown, that will be pushed into the outer end of the life, the 20 years. This is the pricing. So she did a very nice job here giving you a grid as to the pricing. And what we were also able to find, we took the DDA district, right? The DDA only comes in the 12-foot height. It is one of the more expensive models right now. I'm sure that is not the case when they ordered it originally, but this is where it's coming now. Because these other, things are getting less and less expensive, right, as you go into the technology. So these are already pre-made for the LED. The DDA ones, this includes the cost of converting them to LED because they are not made to be LED. We are also recommending, the DDA pole height is 14. We are recommending a 10 to 12 foot height of a pole. When they were doing the tear downs, we asked them to leave this light out here for you so you could see it. That is a 10-foot pole with about a 2-foot topper. Also, oh gosh, right out there somewhere, you can see on the light pole, those white stripes we'd like you to look at those when you leave. Those are 10-foot poles, 12-foot poles, 14-foot poles. So those are the pole heights. And then on top of the pole height is another 2.5 topper, right? So we think the 14-foot pole height is much too high for the campus. We actually think the 10-foot height, which is what was chosen on this campus before, really does work well. But there's also 12-foot if you prefer to have something a little higher. That's the extent of the presentation. We are under a bit of a timeline here because it is a 10 to 12 week order lead time. And our difficulty is that the landscaper does not want to put in the trees or the plants until the lights are in. So we want to at least be able to start figuring out where the lights are going to go. If you're going to approve lights, we're going to start getting the bases and the electrical ready right now. The light themselves can go on top of the base afterward, but we have to get all that underground stuff done first. So we are hoping that you would be able to at least commit to the placement, the 14 that we're looking at, and to tell us to go ahead with that. It is a 10 to 12 week, but like I said, we could wait maybe a little bit longer for the exact design. We just need a commitment that we're going to do this so we can start getting the electrical work done in the placement of the light. Thank you very much. Oh, I can answer any questions if you have any.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
The $500 cut for the custom colorization, is that per pole?
No, it is not. It is per order. However, we order like 2 poles at a time, right? It's also, we pay that when the light head breaks. We've got 2 or 3 of them that are out right now. People run into them and they break. The insurance does cover some of it. The insurance will not cover coloring, right? So the insurance won't cover the custom colorization. So it's $500 a batch. We are having difficulty. We have some poles we're hoping to get here in like the next 2 months, but they've been on order for a year. So,
And one other question, I'm sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say, the poles that you're looking at here are for the campus. The DDA is a different, all the other lights is a different thought, but looking at it in the big picture. But looking at the companies that you give, the Luminaire company is from Farmington Hills, right? So that's a local company.
they are all, there's only one that has something that also, that they have a local element and an element from Mexico. The rest of them are all regional manufacturers.
This one isn't just regional, this one is local.
Yeah?
Right. And the pricing on that, going back to that flip, looked like it was, what, $23.40 for,
I can't get this back up again, I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. So even, other than the DDA, 85,000 would be the maximum that it would cost for any one of these choices.
say that
What
again?
was that number?
85,000
85.
would get even the most expensive 12-foot pole in here installed. So these are your prices right here. Kalamazoo, Michigan is Landscape Forms. That's the 4,040. I'm hoping you have your packet of information in front of you. She did a nice job putting it together. Okay. And these names right here, these are her names. These are our intern's names. She named the styles for you. So traditional meets modern is 4,040 per 12-foot pole. The bollard cost is approximately $1,200. Slim and Sleek is also a Kalamazoo company. That's 3,240
Plus $965.
plus $965 for the bollards. Lantern Luminaire is in Michigan and throughout the United States.
Now, is that one all black or is the bottom part light? Our picture shows it as light.
Actually, your pictures are, these all come in different colors. These all come in different colors. So we're just recommending
So
that
we
the
could go
colors-
all, if we went with this one, it could be all
Yes,
dark.
that's just the spec sheet.
Okay.
She did the best she could finding good
I
pictures
understand.
for you.
I understand.
Yeah. No, every one of them can come in black. Then the downtown district is actually also manufactured in Michigan and throughout the United States. Antique Charm, that's Granville, Ohio and Mexico, so it's regional. And Nautical City is Granville, Ohio and Mexico. So our least expensive one here is really the Lantern Luminaire.
No, I happen to like that one. And going back to the lighting of the entire campus, the spaces between the library and City Hall, didn't look like there was a lamp or a wall pack there or something?
There is one, let's see. So we've got one right here on the corner of the
By
library.
the C for City Hall.
I'm sorry, what?
Between the fire department and City Hall, that, right
No.
in there. I don't see,
No, we don't have a light right here.
should we, should there be?
Well, right now, this one, no, we don't want one right in between here because we don't have enough room. And this is walking right out of his front door. So from a safety perspective, the police chief has already handled the lighting from a safety perspective here. So we don't need any more lighting there, right? It would only be if you think visually it would look good.
I mean, you
But
could put
we
a wall
opted
pack.
away, we opted to not, because here's the door, so we didn't want it by the door. And that pushed us kind of close, which the lighting landscape gentleman said that's really kind of too close to have them. So we said, well, okay, we can either have it close or we just skip it, so we skipped it.
Or as long as it's lit up. Those
Yeah, it's
spots are
lit.
up.
Yeah,
You know,
there's
look at
enough
that.
lighting there. We have a light, the police chief just had a light put right here to shine down on these parking spots, right on the building
Wall
there.
pack or
A wall
something.
pack, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so tonight, are you asking to pick a design or just say we're willing to go with this? Did I understand you to say?
if you can say you're willing to go with this, we can start moving on the bases and move forward with the landscaping. We don't wanna wait too long for the decision, but we could wait till one more meeting. But we need to know what to do, put the base in, with the electrical work.
And this is an important part of.
This is the first part, we can't do anything else on the landscaping until you decide
I
this.
understand.
Well, Bennett, didn't you say that you read this schematic in no luminaire?
I do. I think that one's clean and
And
it's
you
got a
notice
little bit of a
it
classical look.
kind of, it closely resembles what we've already got in the city.
I agree.
Right, and I agree with either that one or the Nautical City, is the two that I would.
And the lantern luminaire, which is Jessica's term for it, is cute, is from Farmington Hills. Lumicon is a Farmington Hills company. So I always like dealing with the local. And it costs less. It's the least, it's the most affordable.
You want to bundle that into a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we,
How about color-wise?
I think that it should be black.
I think black too, it's easiest
We
to
all
use the
agree?
first paint.
All right.
Because that's always going to be a
Bundle that
standard
into a
color.
motion too.
Black is black, anyway you should.
So I'll make a motion that we get going with the lanterns as to these specs for the lantern luminaire from the Lumicon company in the prices that are listed in the color of black.
Okay, thank you very much. I have one further question. She doesn't have the pricing
We have
on
a-
here?
We have a motion here.
Oh, I'm
Do
sorry.
you want something else added to the motion?
Yes. Are you okay with 10-foot poles? Which is what's out there now. If I can't recall,
So that's-
all of these, I believe, come in
10 with the
10-foot.
2-foot,
It's a 2-foot topper,
okay, so you got 12 total.
all total.
Okay.
I think that's fine.
One right outside
Yeah, we left that one right out there.
I can't see it now, but we
That looks good.
I think we're fine with it.
Okay, thank you.
So you want to put 10 foot in your motion?
10-foot.
Okay.
Make that
I'll
10
support
poles.
that.
Okay, we got a motion, Tamara supported. Is there any further discussion?
I have a comment. We spent, where is this money coming from again? Can you just mention that?
This will be coming from your general fund revenues.
Okay, so we already spent $780,000 to fix the parking lot, right? And by the time we get this done and the landscaping, it's gonna be over $1 million. I don't understand how we can explain that to the taxpayers of our community. I just don't.
This is
Can
part of
you
the
help me out with
infrastructure.
that?
Oh, well, from my perspective, this is part of your infrastructure repairs, right? These are things that haven't been handled. We had 3 different light styles going on in the campus area, and there's 2 different light styles going on in the DDA, right? This is part of that stepping up the look of Walled Lake, and if we're going to fix it, we're looking for long-term solutions so that when you do spend the money, that it isn't something you're coming back to again later.
And these are monies that we've saved. So it's not like we're borrowing this.
Well, I think
We've saved this to do these good projects.
Oh, one at a time, please. Who was next? Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Well, I was just gonna say, there's some savings in that they are not the conventional lights that we've had before. There should be a huge electric savings on the LEDs versus the common lights that we have.
Well, I think there's a type of rebate too, if you go with the LEDs.
There is. We've been in communication with DTE on this.
Plus, I think we do have a safety issue out here in the parking lot, in the fact that it is not properly lit.
Yes, and so we are working with the police chief on this
We're
as
well
well.
lit in here now.
Yeah.
So I think we do have a safety issue out here that we have to address. I don't know if the chief agrees with me or not, but that parking lot is awfully dark when we go out at night.
It could be improved. That's what we're hoping council can address tonight.
And I think this was discussed in the beginning when we were talking about redoing the campus, that it was one phase, was the next phase, once we got the parking area done, but then we would do the lighting and the landscaping.
Correct.
And again, I think it's a prime time to do it when we can get some rebates from DTE or whoever the parties are that will give us some money back for this LED lighting.
And the savings alone will be, I know, in my experience, 75% less electricity used. Your bill, my bills have gone down 75% in my parking lot by switching to LED. So that's a tremendous savings every month. It's important to use LED.
Is there any further discussion?
Call the question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Helke,
No.
Councilmember Locke,
Yes.
Councilmember Lublin,
Yes.
Councilmember Osnick,
Yes.
Councilmember Jefferson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ambrose,
Yes.
Mayor Ackley.
Yes. Motion carried, 6-1.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Okay, moving on, council report. Is there any council person that has something they'd like to report tonight? City manager